Shalom Aleichem. With the help of Hashem, we're going to learn the Maamer with the title of Tzidkas, Prozno B'Yisrael. With God's help, we're going to learn the Maamer with the Hebrew, and I'll be highlighting that in the yellow, and we'll translate it with a basic translation in English and basic explanation for anything that needs to be explained. And please put your commentary down below. I'll be putting a link to the Lahak website that we're looking at right now. And please mention any questions or comments that you have below. B'siyata d'shmaya Shabbos Parshas Beshalach, Yud Aleph Shvat, Maamer Beis, Tavshin Chaf Dalid. So with the help of heaven, this is Parshas Beshalach. This was on the 11th of Shvat. This Maamer was said as a preparation for the Maamer Basi Legani, the famous Maamer that the Rebbe became Rebbe with, Basi Legani, which was said in Chaf Dalid, which was the 13th time that he said this Maamer, and this is a preparation. This is a bilti muga, means it was not checked by the Rebbe himself, and we will start the Maamer gaduling. So it says, Tzidkas Prozno B'Yisrael. This is a pasuk that comes from Shoftim in the Nevi'im, in the Navi, that what does the pasuk says? It says it was a tzedakah, it was a kindness that Hashem did B'Yisrael to the Jews, that Prozno, and if you look at this, this means that he spread them out, or that he put them in unwalled cities, which will be explained later. Above the pasuk, what does it say? The same pasuk that we're talking about before it comes to this wording of Tzidkas Prozno. What does it say? Mikol chatzatzim bein mashivim. That it says from all the sounds of the arrows that are thrown between the water carriers, meaning that there's a time that there's going to be unwalled cities. That's what this is referring to. Then it continues, it says, our pasuk, Tzidkas Prozno B'Yisrael, that it's a tzedakah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did to us, that he allowed us to have unwalled cities, that he spread the Jews out. That this is explained on what it says from the Friedricher Rebbe, the Bala Ilula, the one who it's his yahrzeit. Yud Shvat was the yahrzeit of the Friedricher Rebbe. Mahasha Amar Razal, what did the sages say? Amar Rabbi Oishia, it says in the Gemara, in Pesachim, it says, Amar Rabbi Oishia, says Rabbi Oishia, Milashan Yeshua She'ikara, he, HaGeula, that his name comes from the wording of Yeshua, of a salvation, that the main thing is the Geula, which is the redemption. What does it mean, our pasuk that we're learning, the name of our Maamer, that it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a kindness to the Jews, that he spread them out. Tzedakah asa HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'Yisrael shepizran lebein ha'umois. That it was a tzedakah, it was a kindness, it was a charity that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did, that God did to the Jews, that he was pizer, not prozno, with a reish before the zayin, but pizer, that it has a zayin before the reish, means that he spread them out, lebeina umois, amongst the nations. Upirush Rashi, how does Rashi explain this? Shein yochlim lechaloisam yachad. That because HaKadosh Baruch Hu spread us amongst all the other non-Jews, this was a tzedakah that he did, that we're not able to be extinguished or to be destroyed yachad altogether. V'hinei ikar mitziusam shel Yisrael hu limud haTorah v'kiyum hamitzvos, that the main Metzius, the main being of a Jew, is learning Torah and fulfilling mitzvahs. Va'ad shegam inyan ha'erushus shelahem hem be'ofen shel b'chol derech ha'dehu. So much so that even the things that are just inyani reshus, those things that are permissible, neither holy, not unholy, but just permissible things like eating and drinking, is in a way of b'chol derech ha'dehu. In all your ways you shall know Hashem. That's what's special about the Jews. Velachen mevar Bali Ilula, therefore explains the Bali Ilula, the Friedricher Rebbe, shekavanam b'mashikasuv she'in yochlim lachaluisam, that when it says the intention of that they're not able to destroy us, he be'ikar b'nagil laTorah mitzvahs. This is mainly in regards to learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. Shezeu ikar mitzvusam kanal, that this is the main existence of the Jews, like we mentioned above. V'hainu shayidei zeh sheYisrael mefurazim become a medinois, that through the Jews being spread out in many different countries, hine gam kasher b'medina achas doichkim v'loichsim es b'nei Yisrael ve'inam noistim lahem lilmad ulekayim es hamitzvahis, that also when there's one country that it's pushing and it's forcing or pressuring the Jews that they're not able to learn Torah and to fulfill mitzvahs, harinoisav alze asher bnei Yisrael hanimsaim b'shar medinos oiskim hem b'Torah v'mitzvahs. In addition to the fact that the Bnei Israel that are found in the other countries that are doing Torah and mitzvahs, Hinei ayidea esek the tirad mitzvah shalahem hem noisim koyach v'oiz gam la'ilu hayoshim b'gezera rachman litzlan, that these ones who are learning Torah in the other countries, that their learning of Torah is giving a power and a strength also to those ones who are under a decree. May Hashem help us that we are in the situation. Not only does he give them an extra strength, but the ones who are in that country that is being forced not to be able to learn Torah mitzvahs, they actually affect them that they will get over any blockages or any stoppages to learn Torah and to fulfill mitzvahs with a strength of Mesiras Nefesh, of self-sacrifice. That through this, not only were their decree of the other nations not allow them to destroy us, God forbid, but even more than this, that the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs of those Jews who are in a country that is not allowing them to learn Torah and do mitzvahs is going to be done with a much stronger way. So much so that it is done in a way that is higher than medida v'hagbala, any limitations, in a way of ufaratsta you shall spread out. Since this is in a way of self-sacrifice, which is higher than the hishtalshlus of the person, meaning the composition, the spiritual composition of the person, the way he is made up of 10 spheroids, and where he comes from in his root of his soul. They're going through this way of doing Mesiras Nefesh, are able to go above that root. That it's known that the beginning of the composition of a person is his intellect. Just like you see physically, a person has on top of his body, he has the brains. That's where it starts. But not so with the ratzon, the will that a person has. Will in the spheroids is higher than the ishtashlos. It's higher than even seichel, higher than intellect. That the whole concept of self-sacrifice is because of the great will or desire that a person has, which is higher than something that makes sense, something that is intellectual. This is also what it completes in the Maamer that we say in Sefer Kuntresim from the Friedrich Rebbe. That what does he finish? He says, "Sha'idei ha'mesiras nefesh al Torah v'yumshach rav tuv lebeis Yisrael." That the Friedrich Rebbe says that through self-sacrifice for learning Torah, it draws down a rav tuv, a great goodness, lebeis Yisrael, to the house of Jews. Tuv b'melupam, that it's a tuv, not toiv, tuv with a melupam with an u sound, shehu l'mayla mit toiv b'chilam, which is even higher than the word toiv, good, which is with a chilam. V'hu ha'tuviois ha'nechberes me'ha'toiv. This is the level of goodness which is more important than toiv, v'hu shoresh ha'toiv, and this level of tuv is the source of toiv. Shezohi bechina shelamayla mi'ishtashlus, that this is some level that is higher than the ishtashlus, higher than the whole composition of the world, the creation of the world. Ubezagufa bechinas rav tuv, and this itself is a level of great goodness. Ve'ezhainu the Kevan Mesiras Nefesh hu l'mayla mi'ishtashlus sheba'adam, since the self-sacrifice is higher than the composition of the person, the spiritual composition, the hishtashlus of the person, and this reaches also above the hishtashlus that is above, meaning spiritually in the worlds. Lachen aideha Mesiras Nefesh al Torah yumshach rav tuv lebeis Yisrael. Therefore, through a person having Mesiras Nefesh, having self-sacrifice for learning Torah, there draws down an ultimate goodness, a great goodness to all the Jews. Lamatim asar tefachim, down below below 10 tvachim, which means down below in the world, not just spiritually, in a good that is seen and is revealed, spiritually and physically. So to summarize Aleph, when we say that it says Sidkas Prozon B'Yisrael, is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a tzedakah to us, that He spread us amongst the Jews, amongst the non-Jews, and the reason He did that is because if there's a nation that is being pressured that they're not supposed to be learning Torah during mitzvahs, they're not allowed to because of the non-Jews that are pressuring them, there are other nations, other countries where the Jews are learning Torah mitzvahs, and it gives the strength to the one who is being pressured to do Torah mitzvahs in a way of Mesiras Nefesh. Now, when a person does Mesiras Nefesh, what it brings out is this level of Rav Tuv, an ultimate goodness that actually comes down in a physical way. Seif Beis. Zeu gam hashikasuv Sidkas Prozno B'Yisrael. This is also what it says, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a tzedakah to the Jews, that He spread them out, seemingly, Lefi Piresh Chazal Tzedakah V'chulu Shepizran, when the sages explained that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a tzedakah, that He was Pizran, that He spread us out, Havei Leili Memar Tzedakah Pizroinoi. So therefore it should have said Sidkas Pizroinoi. It should have been that it was a kindness that Hashem spread us out. Why does it say this word Proiznoi? The concept is Shahat Tzedakah Sha'asa HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'Yisrael Ayidei Shepizran V'chulu Proiznoi Hu Ha'inyan De Proiznoi, that the tzedakah, the kindness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did to the Jews by spreading us out, which is a wording of Proiznoi, is the whole concept of this word Proiznoi in our pasuk. Hainu, what does that mean? Ha'avodah the Mesiras Nefesh L'mayla Memidida B'Hagbala, which is the whole service of serving Hashem with a self-sacrifice which is higher than any limitations. That through this it's going to draw down from above a level of great goodness that's higher than any limitation. Like the pasuk says, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when Mashiach is going to come, it's going to be Prazois Teshev, unwalled cities He's going to settle in Yerushalayim. Upirish Rashi, Shlo Yeila Katzav Shir, means, Rashi explains what's going to happen to Yerushalayim, that there's not going to be any limitation, any more gates in Yerushalayim. So just to explain quickly, Yerushalayim from the beginning was built as a walled city. When Mashiach is going to come, Yerushalayim is going to become unwalled, and Yerushalayim is going to spread out to the rest of Eretz Yisrael, and eventually Eretz Yisrael is going to spread out to the whole world. The explanation is, Yerushalayim, if you take up the word and split it up, is Yirei Shalom, an ultimate level of Yira, which can be translated either as fear or as awe. Hainu Shleimus HaYira, which means the completion of Yira. Hainu Nekudas HaYira Shamayim Shalamayim Me'aseichel. This is the point of fear of heaven, which is higher than any intellect. Bechinatz Urtzer Shel Yirei Shamayim, Yira Shamayim. That this is a treasure house of Yira Shamayim. V'yirazu hi mitzad atzmusa yisbarach shelo Yisrael loy b'shum ois v'loy b'shum kutz. That this level of fear of Hashem or awe of Hashem is because of the essence of Hashem, which is not hinted at any letter or any thorn of a letter at all. Dehine yedua shabi yira yesh kama madregois. It's known that within yira, within awe, you have many levels. Yira sa'inesh, yira chet, yira saremus v'chulu. So you have a level of fear of being punished, or you have fear of doing a sin, or you can have a higher level that's called Yiras HaRomimus, a more supernal fear. Chen Yiras Elokim v'Yiras Havaya. So too you can split up the fear or the awe of Elokim, the name of Hashem as Elokim, or the name of Hashem as Yud Kevavke. Ubi Yiras Hashem, Yiras Havaya, Gufa Yesh Kama B'Chinoy Shehem Kneged Daled Oisis Hashem Havaya. If you take the higher level of Yiras Havaya, Yud Kevavke, this can also be split up into different levels of fear, which is corresponding to the four letters of the name Yud Kevavke. So much so that you get to the highest level, which is the level of Yud, and within the Yud you have the kutz of the Yud, which is the thorn of the Yud, the little piece of the Yud above, the highest part of the Yud where we start to write it, the letter Yud. Yesh Bahem Eza Tziro Medida. All of these levels have a sort of form or limitation, because they're limited by the type of fear that it is. Even the highest level of fear of Yiras Havaya, or the fear of Yiras Havaya in the Yud, or the Kutz Shel Yud, this is still a form, still a limitation. Amnam, Nekunas al Yiras Shamayim Shalamayla Me'aseichel, Imitzad Asmusi Yisparach Teloi Ismariz B'Shum Kutz. However, the point of fear of heaven that's higher than intellect, which is coming from the essence of Hashem, that cannot be hinted at any letter and not even at any kutz. So how do we reach this level of fear of Hashem? The revelation of this is through an opposition davka. You have to have an opposition in order to bring out this type of level of fear of Hashem or Mesiras Nefesh. Maamer Razal, like the sages say in Maseches Brachos, what does it say? V'hanetzach zu binyan Yerushalayim. The victory is building of Yerushalayim. Shedavka kasha yesh miniyos v'ikuvim al Torah mitzvah, is that when we have blockages or stoppages to fulfill Torah and mitzvahs, hine az mis'ir ha'toikif the Mesiras Nefesh shelamayla me'aseichel, then davka then will be able to arouse a strength for self-sacrifice which is higher than intellect, which is called the treasure house of fear of heaven. Now we can go back to our pasuk of the whole Maamer that we're learning, that it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a tzedakah proiznoi, that He spread us out B'Yisrael v'loi pizroinoi, and not pizroinoi. Ki hatzedakah she'asa HaKadosh Baruch Hu al yedei shepizran lebeina umais hu ha'inyan the proiznoi shelamayla medida v'hagbala. So the whole kindness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did by spreading us out is not just for the sake of us spreading us amongst different nations, but the whole concept of proiznoi is that you go higher than limitation and any blockages. Bechinas prazois teishav Yerushalayim. And when a person reaches into this level of Yerushalayim, that's the concept of unwalled cities that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to make for Yerushalayim. That through the blockages that's going to happen in the times of galus and the times of exile, that through the blockages and the limitations in the times of galus, that then you're going to have a concept of being spread amongst the nations for the sake of birurim. Birurim we're calling refinement. That the concept of making refinements, refining the sparks, is not like it was in the times of Shlomo. What happened in the times of Shlomo? That at the time of Shlomo had so much peace in the whole entire world that the refining of the sparks was likened to something that was automatically done by way of example of bringing a candle in front of a torch. That when you bring a candle in front of the torch, the light of the candle gets completely eaten up in front of the torch. So too, the way that Shlomo was running the world is that he had shalom in his days completely, so much so that anyone who came next to him was completely eaten up by his effect. And so in the times of Galus, it's not this way. Masha'ein kin bizman hagalus strichim bnei Yisrael leilech lemekoimos shebahem nimtzayim hanitzutzim ulevaram b'mekoimam. Not so in the times of Galus, in the times of exile, that the Jews have to go to the places that in them you're going to find the sparks and you're going to refine them in their place. And that's why the Rebbe is explaining, what does Yerushalayim really mean? That through a person going and finding the sparks that have to be refined, Davka, he's going to arouse and he's going to reveal the level of Yerushalayim, meaning the treasure house of Yiras Shamayim, of a fear of heaven, in each and every Jew that comes from the essence of his soul, that's higher than any limitation. That through this, when a person taps into this level of Yirah Shamayim, he's going to draw down also from above the level of the treasure house of good that's higher than Hishtashlus, the ultimate level of treasure. Like it says in Parshas Kisavoy, that it says Hashem is going to open up for you the treasure house of good. Like the Frierdiker Rebbe says that you're going to draw down the level of great goodness to the Beis Yisrael. So to summarize Seif Beis, the Rebbe says, what is the difference of this word Prozno versus Pizer, that he's sending us out? So Prozno is like the word that it says Prazo is Teishiv Yerushalayim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to open up the walls of Yerushalayim and make them unwalled cities that we're going to dwell in Yerushalayim. What is the word Yerushalayim? It stands for Yirei Shalem, an ultimate level of fear. And the ultimate level of fear is what, when a person taps into the essence of his soul, he's going to bring about the essence of Hashem. He's going to draw that down, which is called the ultimate treasure house of Hashem. Seif GImmel. Ve'inyin hu, k'mosh nispar b'maimer al pasuk, al pi masha anu roim b'melech basar v'dam, sheyesh lo yitzarei yikarim, yitzarei surkayim, she'inum mishtamish b'hem, gam l'seirech ha'yisr gadol. So the concept is, like it says in the Maamer, in Perek Vav of the Frierdiker Rebbe's Maamer of Basi Legani. What does the 6th paragraph speak about? It's that we see just by a physical king that he has treasure houses that are very precious, that he doesn't use them even for a great need. Va'ad shehem mechusim me'in kol roeh, so much so that these treasure houses are locked up and they are concealed from the eyes of anybody to see. Mikol makoim, nevertheless, kasher yeshno milchama, when a physical king has a war, az mebazbez hamelech es kol oitzro isav bichdei lenatziach es oivav menagdav. Then the melech, the king, he's mebazbez, means that he squanders, that he spends freely all the treasure houses, all of his treasure houses, in order to be victorious over his enemies and his opposition. The explanation for this, an example for this above, that you have a treasure house, a supernal treasure house of Hashem, which is the level of higher than any light or any revelation. Oitzer hakamus, which this is called a treasure house that is concealed. It's concealed because it's higher than something that should be revealed. Just like you have this treasure house by Hashem, by above, in the same way you also have a treasure house within the soul of a Jew. That the level of the treasure of Yirah Shamayim, of fear of heaven, within the neshama, is the ultimate point of Yirah Shamayim, the fear of heaven, in the depths of the heart that comes from the essence of the soul, which is higher than the revealed parts of the soul. That the level of the point of Yirah Shamayim is not only higher than Seichel, higher than intellect, which intellect is the beginning of the inner powers of a person. It's not only higher than that, it's higher than the general concept of anything that is revealed within the neshama. It's even higher than the revelation of what we call the makif, the encompassing light of the 4th and 5th level of the soul that we call the chaya and the yichida. What does this mean? That when you talk about the yichida, which always seems to be a very high level, and we know that it's a level that comes out in Yom Kippur, which is a very special day, a very unique day of the year, even the level of the Yechida is still only a name and a revelation only. K'mayim Razal, As the sages say, Chamisha Shemos Nikru La Nefesh Ruach Neshama Chai Yechida, the sages explain that we give the name of the soul by 5 names. We call it a Nefesh, a Ruach Neshama, a Chaya, or a Yechida. Shegam b'chines Yechida hi rak Shem v'gilui bilvad v'loi etzem neshama. That even the level of the Yechida, the unique part of the soul, is Yechida means unique, it means one, unique, is only a name or a gilui and not the essence of the soul. However, how do you tap into the essence of the soul? That's the point of fear of heaven, which comes from the essence of the soul. That's why this level of fear or awe of Hashem touches the essence of Hashem. Ukanal Seif Beis Shirazu hi mitzad atzmus yisbarach v'loi ismariz loi b'shum ois v'lo b'shum kutz. That's why what we mentioned above in the second paragraph, that this level of fear is coming from the essence of Hashem. That in the essence of Hashem is not hinted at any letter or any crown of a letter. The cave and shirazu hi mitzad etzem neshama shelamayim ha-hey shemois the nefesh ruach neshama chayechida. Since this level of fear, this level of awe of Hashem comes from the essence of the soul, which is higher than the 5 names of nefesh ruach neshama chayechida. Lachen hi magas lamayla mehadalid oisus the shem havaya. Therefore, it reaches above the 4 letters of the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, B'chinas Kutza Shel Yud, even higher than the crown of the Yud, the thorn of the Yud. Hainu Shemagas Ba'atzmus Yisparach. Meaning that when a person has this level of fear, he taps into the essence of Hashem. What's the whole purpose of having this level of revelation that Hashem reveals to us? That's for the sake of nitzachon, for the sake of victory. That this is the service of having self-sacrifice in actuality. Not just something that we should give lip service to, but actually have Mesiras Nefesh. Actually having self-sacrifice. That davka, through this specifically, we will be able to be victorious with the war. That this is the ability that is given to each and every Jew, like is explained in the Gemara and Sukkah, but it's also explained in Tanya, Perek Yud GImmel, in the 13th chapter of Tanya, that it says that there's 2 that are fighting over one city. The city is the body. You have the Nefesh Elokis, Nefesh Abahamis, and they come to war, and who comes to help them? Is they have a machriya between them, which is a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and a Kadosh Baruch Hu comes to help him. That through this, the Jew, the neshama, is able to win the war in his service every single day. Loirak b'yom HaShabbos, not only on the day of Shabbos, for adrabah yom HaShabbos einu zman shel milchama. On the contrary, the day of Shabbos is not a time for war, but every other day he's able to do it, including Shabbos. That through the Jew having a self-sacrifice, which is higher than any limitation, therefore this is higher than any calculations that a Jew can make. Like the concept that we said of squandering the treasure house, that because of this self-sacrifice that the person's having, it doesn't make sense. It's not shaykh that there be any calculation whether he's going to open up his treasure house for this specific concept. Rather, it's because he wants to win the war, he's going to do whatever it takes to win the war. Maamer explains in the Maamer of Basi Legani, the kashem shebe'inyan kivush ha'melchama begashmius hariyeshtem chachamim gedolim ha'sheiktim bechachmos shel tachsisei ha'melchama v'yeshtem anshe chayil she'enim yoidim klal. That just like in the concept of conquering a war in the physical sense, you have chachamim gedolim, you have wise men who are sheiktim, they are diligent, that they are understanding the whole war strategies, and all these people, all these wise men are coming, and they they're coming to make war strategies. וישנם אנשי חיל שאינם יודעים כלל אם כהכרח של תכסיס המלחמה. And then you have the foot soldiers, you have the simple soldiers, that they don't know at all the depths of the war strategies of the war. Elahem oivdim be'umna u'mesiras nefesh. Rather, these soldiers, they're serving Hashem with an emunah, with a belief in Hashem, u'b'mesiras nefesh, and with a self-sacrifice. V'inyan kivush ha'milchama hu ha'yidei ha'anshei chayil ha'loichmi b'mesiras nefesh. And the main conquering of the war is through these soldiers, that they are fighting with mesiras nefesh. Shen hema hamenatzchim, that they themselves are the ones who are victorious. So in the same way as you say with the physical war, you can also say with the spiritual war. That the ones who are winning the war are those who, the Yirei Shamayim, that they have fear of Hashem, naga belibam, it touches their heart. Like it's explained over there in the Maamer at length. This that we say that winning the war is through the soldiers davka specifically, the intention is not to exclude, God forbid, those smart people, those high-level people that they are working in the war strategies, that rather what we're trying to say is that the service of those smart people who are making war strategies also needs to be not only according to Seichel, not only the level of that which is revealed higher than Seichel, but even these war strategists have to do their service of Hashem in a way of mesiras nefesh. Just like you have simple soldiers. That through this, their service is going to be because of the essence of the neshama, which is higher than the level of giluim, revelations. Then they'll be included in those warriors, those soldiers who the fear of Hashem touches their heart. This that it emphasizes and it says naga belibam, that it touches their heart, means that the level of the essence of the neshama, which is higher than revelation, is davka in the heart, specifically in the heart, and not in the mind. Just like in the kingship that's in the earth, just like you have a kingdom down here, that the king, in order to win the war, he is squandering his treasure houses and he gives them to the Anshe Chayil, to the soldiers. So too you have in the kingship of heaven. That in order to win the war, we open up the treasure house from above to the level of that which is Gilui, and we give to them, to the Jew, we give this to the Jews, that through this we're going to reveal the Oitzer Shel Yerushalayim Shebahem. And we're going to open up the treasure house of Yerushalayim within the Jew. So too, just like you see that it happens from above, from heaven, that Hashem opens up these treasure houses for us, so too you have on the other way, from below to above. Through a Jew standing with self-sacrifice and arousing the treasure house of Yerushalayim within himself, within the Jew. Then it's like with what is said in the Zohar, that it says with one spirit is going to elicit another spirit from above. So the spirit from below is going to elicit a spirit from above. That we're going to open up for them the treasure house from above. That Hashem He's going to open up for you His good treasure house. That this is going to help them to win the war. Then it's going to draw down also physically that then there's going to draw down the Rav Tuv, the great goodness to the Beis Yisrael, to the Jews, below, physically, lower than 10 tefachim, in a good that is seen and is revealed. So the Rebbe continues, the Maamer continues, and it says, "V'yuvon zeh," to understand all this, for Pratiyus Yisrael, most specifically, behektim hamevur ba'Maamer shinitam liyem ha'ilula, we have to preface what is explained in the Maamer that was given for the day of the Frierdiker Rebbe's Hilula, which is the Maamer of Basi Legani, and it starts out by saying, Basi Legani echoisi kala, and that is going to lead us into the next Maamer.